Hello, everyone, and welcome to another post-game Basketball Champions League final late show. I'm joined by Alex Madrid from Spain. We're going to talk about the two semifinals that took place today, and obviously preview the final for Sunday. A pretty exciting day, even though the two games were a bit not so close as we expected. I think they were pretty offensive and really interesting to watch. Alex, first of all, thanks for joining us. And what are your first thoughts?
Hi, Denisis. I'm really happy to be here. I think the fit is perfect because it's a Greek guy talking to a Spanish guy. The perfect fit because we're going to have a Spanish against a Greek team this Sunday. I feel great. We watched two really good games. Probably the second one wasn't as tight as we expected. But it was also an interesting game. We saw Ike playing really great basketball, probably the best game with the one that Burgos played on Wednesday. So probably the two teams that deserve the most will be in the final.
Yeah, so Sunday at 8 o'clock Greek time, local time, we have the final between Ike and Burgos. We have a pretty packed show for you tonight. We're going to bring in Adonis Strogilakis in a couple of minutes from Oaxaca, and he's going to bring us all the latest news, first of all, about Ike, because it was the game that just ended. And then we're obviously going to have Omar Cook from San Pablo Burgos, and he's going to answer all the questions that we have for him about the team's performances in this tournament, and also the final against Ike and what he expects from them. But first, Alex, let me ask you a question about Ike. We've seen them play two huge offensive games. So they've scored 97 and 94 points. But I think they were spectacular to watch, especially offensively. But the key point for me was that, again, the coach Ilias Papatheodorou, had a great, he didn't play any guy, any veteran up to 25 minutes. So I think that's huge for Sunday. We talked about that yesterday. We talked about that in the previews. Alex, what are your first thoughts about Ike in general and how they qualified to the final?
Well, for example, they signed Tyrese Rice mainly for this tournament. He didn't use him too much. He played less than 17 minutes, but he scored 18 points. I think he only took 9 shots, so it's an incredible performance. I think he was also the guy with the best rating on the team. So, I think both teams will reach the final. Well, reach the final rested. Especially Ike. That's true because they have probably more stars in the squad, so they can also share the ball, give responsibilities to other guys. We all know that, as we say, Lamport and Rice are the main guys, but they can also find scores in the rest of the team, like 7 or 6 guys over 10 points.
Yeah, 6 players. 6
players. So it's amazing. If we see what Burgos has been doing with these games, they have mainly 2 scorers by each game. It's true that in the first game it was. I can't remember the guys. One was Kravitz for sure, and the other
I think it was McFadden, Thad McFadden.
Yeah, that's true. McFadden, and today it was Benite and Horton. So it is true that each game can appear some different players, but the style is different in Ike because they have so many players and can go over 10 points.
Yeah, what you mentioned, I think the fact that both teams have their roster at full force and are fully rested for Sunday's game, given how the two games that they've played so far went, especially during the quarterfinals. San Pablo Burgos won by 27. Tonight, they fairly easily won the game against Dijon. And I think
they only have one like a couple of minutes that Dijon came back and they were winning just by 5 points, but it was just 2 minutes. Then another run and another really good game for Burgos.
Yeah, I think that's going to play a huge role for fans who just want to watch basketball. Regarding their team liking, I think that's going to be a really interesting game. And I think that this final is what we really want to watch, like two offensive teams going at each other and fully rested, talented guys. But let's bring in Adonis Strogilakis from Oaxaca and have him talk about Ike and the team's latest news. Adonis, how are you? Thanks for joining us.
Hello, hello. It's very nice to find you and be a part of your wonderful show.
Yeah, of course.
Hello, Alex.
Hello, Antonis.
So pretty much we were getting into it with Alex. We were talking about Ike first of all because it was the game that ended, and we want to get your take on that. And pretty much the two games that they've played so far, scoring 94 and 97 points.
Yes, Ike is simply too much for every opponent they face. They are simply too much. They have so many weapons. It's crazy, and it's not only the stars of the team. It's not only Tyrese Rice. It's not only Keith Langford. Not only Matt Lojeski for this squad. Matt Lojeski is among the stars. I mean, you try to stop these players, and then you see Nikos Gikas hitting a jumper. Then you see Rogavopoulos hitting a jumper. You see all the other players contributing. And the problem that Ike puts against its opponents is that it forces them to spread their defenses too thin. They can't guard so many people. So, yes, Ike is a very quality team, high-quality team, and they work very well together, all the players. And that's the biggest strength. Also, the quality players, they are players that can do many things on the court. They are players who can multitask. You saw them creating. For many players can create. Many players can rebound. They are simply the top team. They have the top roster on the tournament by far, and they are strong in every game.
Yeah. We were talking that probably their offensive styles are quite different because in Ike you can see like 6-7 players scoring more than 10 points. But in San Pablo Burgos, you have two main guys. It is true that every different game is two different guys, but that's the thing. Two guys scoring more than 20 points or almost 20 points.
Yes, I mean, you have some specific stats in Burgos that you expect scoring. For example, Vitor Benita, McFadden. Dejan Kravic is a player who can score 20 points easy, and also can, about Burgos, can influence the game. But yes, Ike has many more weapons on its roster, and it's difficult to contain them.
Adonis, you mentioned the weapons, and I think for me, one of the strongest weapons that they have so far in the tournament was that pretty much the two games were blowouts or very easy for Ike to handle. And I think that the fact that no player has played more than 25 minutes per game right seems like an extremely important weapon heading into Sunday, given the fact that Ike has 8 players over 30 years old. Do you think that that is going to be a huge advantage for them?
It's a double-edged sword in a way. I mean, they won easily, so they didn't face any pressure. They weren't as battle-hardened as perhaps other teams. I mean, Burgos didn't face many difficulties, of course, but you saw this on today. They tried to make a comeback. They faced some kind of resistance. I didn't face any resistance against Zaragoza. They completely blew them out. And yes, I agree with you, Dionysis. They have many veterans who have to stay fresh, who have to... fatigue is an issue in this kind of tournament. It can hurt you. And it's important that Coach Papatheodorou has, if you want the luxury to make a big rotation, he has the roster to use players. He also has the roster that many players, can help each other. They can play defense. They can close gaps. It's the strength of the roster that really can make things happen for Ike.
I think that after all, Ike basically created its roster for that particular tournament, and I think
of course
it was really really clear heading into the tournament that it's championship or bust for them.
I didn't hear you.
I said that it was pretty clear that heading into the tournament, they had the mentality of getting the title or the season would be a bust, at least the final eight tournament.
It's definitely championship or bust for Ike. There's no question about it. They acquired a top star like Tyrese Rice, the MVP of the previous season, a guy who has the opportunity right now to be the first player ever, if I'm not mistaken, to win EuroLeague, Eurocup, and Basketball Champions League. It's a huge challenge for him, a huge bet. They have Keith Langford, this season's MVP, Matt Lojeski, Nikos Zisis. Of course, it's championship or bust for them. They don't have the crowd. For example, in 2018, they had thousands and thousands of fans supporting them. They don't have this weapon. Their only weapons are the players. But yes, they are the favorites. They have to win it. Burgos can play on this. Alex, you wanted to say something? I mean, Burgos can use that to their advantage, maybe.
Well, I was going in that direction because you said that the crowd, it's a weapon, which is true.
It is a weapon.
Also,
they don't play basketball. Sorry, they don't play basketball, but we
yeah,
have seen fans pushing, motivating the players.
but I consider that also could be like a well, they have no pressure right now because sometimes crowd full. I know these guys are really experienced guys, but when the crowd is full and they're all cheering for you, the expectations are much higher, and sometimes you have an extra pressure that probably they don't have right now.
Yeah, I would expect the players, the young players of the team, maybe having this kind of problem,
Yeah,
this
but not with
potential problem. But of course not Keith Langford, of course not Nikos Zisis, of course not Tyrese Rice. I mean, for God's sake, Tyrese Rice played in Maccabi, played in one of the hottest crowds in Euroleague. I'm pretty sure that he doesn't face any problem regarding crowds. No, these are professional players. These are veterans. They are focused. They are determined. They know what they have to do. If a crowd would be only a benefit right now for an act, they wouldn't be.
Adonis, what was the players' reactions? Did you see anything that we might have not seen in the TV?
No, a few things, because as you know, due to the protocol with the coronavirus, we don't have access to the players. FIBA made sure that safety will be first, as it should be. I didn't see many reactions for the players. What I've seen in some videos from the mixed zone that FIBA is kind enough to send us in order to do our job the right way is they have a good camaraderie. I mean, you see players passing beside each other, behind each other. You know, they slap their hands in a friendly manner. They have a very good camaraderie, a very good spirit. I've noticed that some of the guys like Keith Langford or Nikos or Tyrese Rice have taken a mentor role to the other players, like Nikos Gikas, for example. Nikos Gikas spoke in praise of Tyrese Rice. And it's important that these young guys have also the other guys to explain to them what it means to play in this kind of game.
Yeah.
What it means to play for a championship. What it means to compete for a title, how important it is, how big it is, and to prepare them mentally, psychologically, in order to perform, to give their best.
Yeah. Adonis, I think that I've seen that in both teams, having that focus to win it all. Like, for example, we had the other day Alex Renfro joining us after the quarterfinal. He was so down to earth after beating Hapoel by 27 points. We're going to obviously have Omar Cook later on today, and the few messages that we exchanged off air seems to me that they are still not satisfied with heading into the final, and I think they want more. What do you expect from San Pablo Burgos in the final, given how you've seen them in the 2 games?
They are very, very motivated. They are very, very well prepared. They grabbed 2 wins simply because they were the better team, but also they were very well prepared. This is a key factor in this kind of tournament. Coach Juan Penarroyo acknowledged this after the win in the quarterfinal, that they played 3 ASB games. They got 2 wins. They almost beat Barcelona on the road. I mean, this team is no joke.
And they are coming from their best season ever. They reached the semifinals in the Spanish League.
In Spanish League, yes, under special circumstances, of course, but still an achievement for the club. And yes, they have a great system. They can create open shots easily. We saw that today. They were initiating offers beautifully. They have many players who can contribute, who can also multitask, like Kaiga can create. Dejan Kravic, for example, he had 6 assists tonight.
And he didn't play a really good game. He only played at the end of the game.
No, the stars were others. There was Vitor who played in the start and in the end.
Yeah.
But yes, for example, Burgos is ready. They are determined. They are humble. Alex Renfro specifically said today that, we made history. This is a first-time achievement for the club, but so what? 2 wins. Who is going to remember this? I mean, final participations don't go into a trophy case, you know. The silverware goes to the trophy case. Just to have a standard for the participation, okay, it's a good thing, but they are aware of what's at stake. They are motivated. This is why I believe we're going to see a very interesting battle. 2 teams really, really hungry to win the championship.
Adonis, one last question from us because we have to let you go, and
Sure.
Omar is patiently waiting for us.
I'm going to miss you guys.
Do you think that the fact that San Pablo Burgos has played more, more official games in the Spanish league, and AEK hasn't necessarily played that many games in the preseason and the start of the new season, will play a role in Sunday's final? But if I'm being honest with you, we haven't seen so far AEK having any bit of a struggle.
Yes, I'm going to start at the end. They haven't seen such struggle, but what do we have in the final? We have the 2 best teams in the tournament. So you can say that AEK didn't face a team that was so good as Burgos is. So well prepared, with such a good and effective system. AEK played 2 games in the Super Cup. By the way, the Super Cup loss, there's your extra additional motivation for AEK. You can argue that San Pablo Burgos perhaps faced a more intense competition. But I don't think that at this point this thing matters, because even if AEK hadn't played games before the tournament, they played 2 games now. That mattered a lot. So in a way, AEK has played 3 knockout games. They played 3 knockout games: the semi-final, the Super Cup, now the quarterfinal and the semi-final. I think this makes you very well prepared. Both teams are prepared. Both teams are motivated. Both teams have quality rosters. AEK has the quality advantage. They have the home court advantage in terms that they play in the court that they practice. They feel comfortable in. But in the end, it's going to be what is always the case in knockout games. Which team is going to have the best form? Which team is going to be more well prepared? Which team is going to be focused? Which team is not going to give up if they go down in the score? Which team is not going to relax when they are up in the score? The 2 best teams in the final 8 by far are going to clash for the tournament. We're going to have a great final, great players, many MVP candidates. It's going to be great.
Adonis, let me thank you for your insights and for joining us here.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and let you go.
Good night.
Great to see you, Antonis. Bye, man.
Alex, before we bring in Omar Cook, let me ask you the same question I asked Adonis. Do you think that San Pablo Burgos has the extra motivation to beat AEK in the final, given that they're in the first final in the club's history?
Well, that will be important. What I'm sure is that we are not going to have a 90-point game or something like that. Yeah, it definitely will be important for them. Each game they play, it's the biggest game in the history of the club. They are well prepared. They have a huge roster, as Anthony said. Probably one of the best managers, not only in the championship, probably in Europe. I'm not kidding. Joan Peñarroya is an incredible coach, and he managed to get a team that really trusts on him. And why not? They can win it all.
With that, let's bring in Omar Cook, and as always, have him talk about the team and the final. Omar, hello, and thank you so much for joining us.
How you doing?
Hello, Omar.
First of all, congrats on the huge win and reaching the final. Quite an accomplishment for you guys.
Thanks a lot.
So how are you feeling after a huge win? You've had 2 huge wins in the tournament so far.
I feel good. You know, we came here with a goal to reach the finals and win the finals. So we one step away from winning the championship.
Omar, did you feel that you had to be especially careful with Dijon because probably you expected to play against Tour Telecom, but you have to face a really good game, a really good team. I mean, that never gave up and always trying to come back in the game.
Yeah, we knew this was a team that always they've been playing together for a few years now. They added maybe one or two players, but every game they've been down 10-11, and then they always come back. Even today they cut it down to 5 or 4. But we know what we're capable of doing. If we play defense and get stops, we're able to. We got a lot of players who can score. So if we get stops, we know that's going to keep us ahead in the games.
What's one thing you took away from the semifinal and one implemented also on the final on Sunday?
Just that is 40 minutes. We started the game off really, really good. We took a lead, but they always had a chance to stay in the game. It felt like we couldn't put them away. They was always right there, and we know for 40 minutes to win this championship, we got to play for 40 minutes.
It seems that you reached the final eight in a really good shape. It doesn't seem that it's the beginning of the season. It seems that it's the end of the season, actually.
Yeah, it's strange. It's strange to play a final before the season starts. We fortunately for us, we had 3 Spanish games versus the couple teams we played against. They have maybe one game, or as Jerusalem, they didn't play any games. So we were lucky to have those regular season ACB games that helped us get ready for this.
Did you guys celebrate the win? Because I see you really focused on the task at hand on Sunday. What's your mentality heading into the final? I know that your teammate Alex Renfro talked about and so what? We won 2 games. Nobody's gonna remember that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tricky situation because for our club, this is the biggest game ever. But
Mhm.
for us, we know we came here to win. We didn't come here just to play the final. We came here to win, and we didn't want to celebrate. Winning the first game, and even today we didn't want to celebrate because we know our goal is to come here to win. We came here to win the trophy, and that's what we focus on.
Did you have the chance to go to like semifinals game?
This is actually I mean, okay, when my second year in Europe, I won the Euro Challenge. It was a little different then. I was in Russia, and we played like the game at our home court. So this is my first big European final. So I'm excited, man. I'm very excited. The atmosphere is without fans is a little strange, it's different, but the lights, we come out before the game, you see everything in the stand in the hotel, everything is, finals situation, but it's just without fans right now.
What do you expect from Mike in the final, given that at least on paper they were the heavy favorites going into the tournament to win it all?
This is their gym. Their home team. They have a great roster. I didn't know all the players that they had, but they have a great roster. It seemed like, all those old guys is still playing. Me and Keith played together in
Yeah.
Milan. I've been playing against Marcus since he was in Real Madrid. Zizi,
Mhm.
it's like the old guys are still around. So, I don't feel that bad. I don't feel like I'm too old for this competition because they got some veterans on their team as well. But they're a great team, man. And watched their game tonight. They move the ball well. They got a lot of guys who can put the ball in the basket. So I'm just ready. I know we're gonna be ready. We're gonna be ready to play.
That's
A
was
follow-up, Alex, let me ask a follow-up, sorry, because of what you just said regarding the experience that they have and the fact that they have 8 players older than 30 years old. But the fact is, in my opinion, that they've built this roster for that particular Final 8 tournament. And in the first 2 games, they pretty much easily beat their opponents, and no player averaged more than 25 minutes a game. Do you feel that can play a role in that final?
I think both teams is in the same situation. I think we don't have any guys who play
Yeah.
more than 25 minutes a game. We had different guys who were leading scorers for us as well. I think the only difference is they have guys who've played in finals before. You know, they got Tyrese Rice, who's a, champion. They got ZZ, who's played in a lot of big games as well. So I think we got two veteran teams. I think we got a few 30-year-olds as well. So it's going to be a great game. I'm excited, man. This is to be 38, about to be 39, to finally play in the finals for European competition. I'm excited, man.
You were talking about these young guys that now are reaching the final. Marcus, you, Keith. Uh, why is this competition so special for you? Why are you reaching this way of form, this final? What's so special for you?
I mean, for me, just a lot of stuff that happened with the off season with my last team, and for me to actually be a part of this Burgos team, I just feel lucky. I feel lucky because a couple months ago I was still under contract and I wouldn't have been here, but some things happened. I wound up in this situation, and this is the most fun I've had playing basketball in a few years. Playing less minutes than I've played in maybe the last 5, 6 years, but this is the happiest I've been playing basketball in a long time.
Hmm. Omar, can you talk a little bit about Vitor Benite, his performance tonight, and also the leadership amongst pretty much all of you, and especially younger guys?
Victor is amazing, man. As soon as I got here, we connected, we bonded, and he's a guy that you know he's a great teammate. He works hard, he works on his game, and he's a great teammate. And he didn't play good the first game, and I saw him yesterday taking extra shots after practice, and he was getting ready, and today was his day.
Wow. I, as I'm Spanish, I want to reach my Spanish audience. So I want you to send a message to all those fans that probably want to be there in Athens, but they can be because of the situation. Can you say something to them?
Um, I just want to say to the fans in Spain or the fans around the world, who everybody's watching. We all know this is a difficult situation for everybody. The pandemic and COVID, etc. It's a difficult situation. We hope we're putting on a good show. We hope we're inspiring people, and we're giving people a break from everything that's going on around the world. To have this tournament here in Athens, to have great basketball, we want to have a great final. We want to bring the trophy back to Spain, back to Burgos, and it's a great opportunity. I just hope that people around are enjoying this experience because for me as a basketball player to play in this type of situation after everything that's going on this year has been pretty amazing.
Hmm. One last question before we let you go. On paper, as I said before, Ike was the heavy favorite to win the tournament. While you guys, many people didn't even think that you would make it to the Final Four. How do you view that whole thing? How do you view the final? The fact that the Ike is the favorite, at least in experts' eyes, in many people's eyes, and fans' eyes. Do you feel underdogs? Do you feel that it's 50-50? How do you process that whole situation?
Um, I don't think it's the underdogs. I just the fact that people didn't understand exactly what we had, before we
Mhm.
got here. I think after the first game, people kind of realized and took notice to, this Burgos team play defense. This Burgos team share the ball. This Burgos team have a lot of guys who can put the ball in the basket. So I think, after the first game, people understood that, we're a really great team.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say that we're the underdogs because, I mean, it's still early in the season as well.
yeah.
But this is their home. This is their city, and but we know what we came here for. We came here to win the trophy.
Dionysis,
Hmm.
let me make a final question.
Yeah, yeah.
It's more kind of personal. I was commentating the game for the Spanish TV, and we were saying that probably your name, Omar Serif, comes from an actor. I don't know if you know if your parents were fans or something
Yeah,
like that.
my mom was a big fan of his, so that's where I got my name from.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, well, Omar, thanks so much for joining us. Let us wish you good luck on Sunday and take care until then. And yeah, thanks again.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Omar.
Thanks again. Thank you for everybody who's been watching, and look forward to putting on a great show on Sunday and bringing the trophy back to Burgos.
Mhm.
Thanks.
Thank you. So Alex, let's before we close out today's show, I think what I've gotten into from that whole discussion that we had with Omar Cook and Adonis Strogilakis also was the fact that both teams are heading into the final full force, fully rested, and we're gonna watch an exciting final. Even if you said earlier that you don't predict that the final will go up to 90
No.
points, these two were the best offensive teams in the tournament so far.
Do you remember that when we were kids, probably that finals at the Oaca going to 60 points, everybody going to the ground? I expect something like that. I won't say that I want blood, but something similar. I want good defense. I expect really emotional game with not many buckets probably. But I'm sure that the team that wins the game will be the first champion of this season.
And I think that the fact that San Pablo Burgos came into the tournament as the underdogs, played in the first game, blew out one of the favorites in Hapoel Jerusalem, beating them by 27 points, then played the semi-final against Dijon, fairly easy, beat them as well, and are now in the final. I think that puts pressure on them because right now people expect them to do great things. People expect them to at least put up a fight against Ike, even if Ike on paper is still the favorite to win it all.
Well, we have to remember that they also had problems to qualify. They were almost out when the last rounds were coming, and they finished third that group. They beat Dinamo Sassari in just 2 games with the home court advantage in the Italian side. So they made a huge run. They probably reached this final in their best shape, probably with a better squad than they used to have. So yeah, they will have a lot of pressure because now everybody in Burgos wants their first European title.
I gotta give it to you though, Alex, because in your previous and the last time we spoke yesterday, you said San Pablo Burgos against Ike, and here we are. The final will be San Pablo Burgos versus Ike. So I have to ask you again, third time is the charm. Who you got winning it all?
I'm going with Ike. You know it. I don't want to hurt Burgos. If now I see Burgos and they lose the final, they will say it's my fault. So I won't do it. I'm going with Ike.
You've said that since the beginning of the tournament.
I know.
So I think that's to your favor, Alex. We're gonna go ahead and close tonight's show. We're gonna also bring you a live show tomorrow, guys. After the pre-game conference on Saturday, and then obviously Sunday we're gonna be here after the final. The final will take place at 8 o'clock local time between Ike and Burgos, and the third place game will take place 3 hours earlier in Dijon versus Zaragoza. We didn't touch upon that game. I think that that's also going to be a pretty interesting game. These two teams, in many people's eyes, didn't even expect to reach the final four. But I think that the most interesting part of the night will be, of course, Ike going up against San Pablo Burgos in what will be an interesting and exciting final. Alex, thank you so much again for joining me.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. I'm really having fun with these shows.
Yeah, so we have 2 more to go, and I think we're going to watch a very, very exciting final on Sunday. Until tomorrow, everybody, take care, and we'll see you then. Have a good night.
Bye.